Did Jamie Dimon, who's the CEO over at JP Morgan and Chase, have to say about cryptocurrency when he testified in front of Congress? Elizabeth Warren introduces a bill to crack down on cryptocurrency. And the last thing that we're going to be going over, and probably the biggest piece of news, is Coinbase officially sues the SEC. Make sure you guys tune in all the way to the end of this video to find out all the details. Hey guys, it's Ryan with Big Dog Investing. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. If you guys could do a couple of things for me, if you guys can go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you guys have not done so already. Click the bell notification down below so YouTube can send you guys notifications whenever I release videos. Watch my videos all the way to the end. If you guys could share my videos and share my channel with anyone, I'm trying to grow my channel as much as I can and definitely need your guys' help in doing so. Getting started, takes me Sunday, December 17th. The total market cap right now for all cryptocurrency is $1.59 trillion. This is a 0.38% decrease on the day today. Fear and greed index, we are right now at a 73. We did dip down into the extreme greed at an 83. A little bit during the week. It's been roughly about a week and a half since I made my last video, so sorry about that, guys. Bitcoin right now is currently trading at $42,097. Ethereum $2,232, and XRP right now at 61.85 cents. If we look at our Bitcoin chart though, Bitcoin did have a nice run up. If we look at the last month, it did peak around 44.5, so that was a good news. And then obviously, again, we've been up by so much that it's going to retrace a little bit. A bunch of people are going to take some profits. Getting into our biggest gainers and losers on the day today. Biggest gainers, we got ICP right now up 11.4%. This is one that I currently hold. Big fan of ICP, but it's had really terrible charts. Over the long run. They started out like really, really big and then just retraced bad. So if we look at the ICP chart, we go all, and they started around $428 and then just printed and just created all these mint coins and then just trashed the price. And then now it started to rebound a little bit, but we'll see what happens with that one in the long run. It's one that I'm just going to hold for a little bit and then sell. We got BGB right now up 7.7% and Beam right now up 7.1%. Biggest losers, AR's down 12.8%. Cosmos or Osmo right now is down 8.7%. And then we got GNO down 6.7% right now. If we look at the week, though, we got some nice greens right here. ICP, again, was the biggest gainer, 114%. We got Engine right here, which is another one that I know of. I do not hold this one. And Filecoin I do own right now, 11.1%. VeChain also is a nice cryptocurrency. Had some decent news if you look into it a little bit. Starting with our news, though, Fed decided to pause interest rates. So after the FOMC meeting, Fed Chair Jerome Powell decided to leave interest rates the same. Right now, Fed rates right now are 5.25 to 5.5%, leaving your mortgage rates right now just shy of 8%. You got car loans probably right now about 10%, and then you got credit cards still roughly about 19 to 22%. But with the Fed leaving the interest rates paused, he did kind of make some signals and said that we could see 3 rate decreases, so possibly a 75-point basis rate cut next year, which is 0.75%, and that's how it goes out. Which was a green light for investors. So we saw a little bit of a D trend in the markets, and then stock market went up like 3% in one day for a little bit. Obviously, stock markets right now roughly about 4% year over year. So 3% in one day is really bullish. Cryptocurrency had a nice run up too. Amazon now has 750,000 warehouse robots. Up from 1,000 in 2013. It's just showing that, again, we're getting rid of humans for jobs, in my opinion, and we're going to start using a lot more technology. So will universal basic income come in, UBI? Google just launched Gemini, an AI model it hopes will take down OpenAI's ChatGPT 4, which is kind of interesting to see. Google's going to be doing this. You see X trying to create their own. Apple's trying to create their own. Everyone's trying to come up with their AIs, and Congress is trying to step in to stop a lot of it. We're not going to talk much about this guy. Obviously, you guys should know who he is. He's somebody's son. And he's talking about how his father was not financially involved. He was actually subpoenaed to appear in front of Congress for the House Oversight Committee, and he did not. He ended up making like a public statement outside of the Capitol Hill instead of going into the building, and said, "I'm here. I'm willing to take questions," and didn't take any questions and kind of just bounced. And he defied the congressional subpoena, but his father over here in 2021, with a lot that was going on a certain specific day, right in January. I'm not going to say it because I've been banned from TikTok and YouTube for a little bit, but He says that anyone who defies a congressional subpoena should be criminally prosecuted, and he also stated that the Justice Department should go after these individuals. But would he feel about the same about his son? We'll see here in the near future. But if you guys look at his spending for 2016 to 2019, he spent $850,000 on adult entertainment. If you guys want to look at the breakdown, you guys can right here, which is kind of crazy. And he failed to pay taxes from 2016 to 2019. Tucker Carlson was a master troll. He parks these big vans with these billboards in front of the New York Times, CNN, and Washington Post, and says corporate media is dead. He's since moved to X. That's where we get a lot of our information from. It was kind of just funny to put in there, so I threw it in there. But Rosie Rios, for those of you guys that don't know, she was the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, and she actually sits on the board over at Ripple, which is kind of nice to see, and it's kind of a big deal, in my opinion, for Ripple, and in my opinion, the XRP token. But they had the Boston Tea Party 250-year anniversary celebration that kicked off, so if we watch this video really quick, they reenacted into the Boston Harbor, which was kind of cool. It would have been nice to be a part of this, in my opinion. Unfortunately, like, I didn't know about it, and I have a new baby, so I can't go out and do that kind of stuff anymore. New York City will be the first city in America to charge Americans to go to work in the morning. Americans will pay $23 per day. Passenger vehicles will be charged $15 to enter congestion zones, so they'll be charged an extra $15 to go. So $38 just to go into downtown. This is kind of crazy. They said for trucks about $38. In my opinion, this is completely ridiculous. Obviously, our taxpayer dollars go to fund the roads, but now you have to pay to go on the roads that your tax dollars pay for. Obviously, you guys just need to get your guys' city in check, in my opinion. But put your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Elon Musk comments on this right here. It says, "Let me help you out there. Calling for the mass blank will talk of anyone obviously constitutes harassment, bullying, and harassment." So we had one of the House Oversight Committee's individuals testify, and she was having MIT, Penn, and Harvard's presidents in front of them. This is where our taxpayer dollars go to a lot of these universities. They go to fund them, and then they also receive massive tax breaks. But they've had a lot of issues on their college campuses. What's going on over on the Middle East? And they I got asked questions about this. Does calling for the mass blank of the Jewish individuals on your guys' campus constitute bullying and harassment? And all three of them basically said no. They said when it constitutes, it is only when conduct is involved. So when the action is involved. So it's good on Elon Musk to call this out. They talked individually with Harvard's president, and they asked her how much money that she receives in her endowment. So basically, people can just send as much money as they want to in an endowment, basically like a fundraiser, and it's tax exempt. So they receive $50 billion of tax exempt free money, and they have an annual budget of $6 billion. So they basically profited as a university $44 billion. And obviously, should they be receiving this massive tax break? Because they should have been charged 40% taxes. So 20 billion should have been going to the federal government in taxes. But put your guys' thoughts down in the comments below about that. I thought it was kind of ridiculous. But getting into our first thing that we talked about, Jamie Dimon, the CEO over at JP Morgan and Chase, was asked a question about Elizabeth Warren on what he thinks about cryptocurrency. And he basically says that if he was in the federal government, he would shut down crypto and Bitcoin. He doesn't like it. It's not transparent, only a little bit, which is false. It's 100% transparent. Everything can be tracked on the blockchain from when the blockchain started to now, and then also in the near future. You can always track what's going on. What you can't track is obviously what's been going on over at his company, because he was fined trillions of dollars by the federal government. Maybe it was billions, but he was fined a lot of money for the federal government for a lot of the stuff going on with another individual who ended up doing something terrible on an island. Again, I won't say any names, but because they hid the bank records, kind of knew what was going on and didn't say anything. But obviously, this is also a conflict of interest because he actually has his own blockchain that he's trying to promote, JP Morgan Coin, which is a competitor of the XRP token, which by the company of Ripple. So it's kind of interesting to see, in my opinion, for him to take this stance. Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming in 2025, so here's a little bit of a trailer. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's a little inappropriate in my opinion, but obviously it's Grand Theft Auto. Hopefully they use cryptocurrency for microtransactions. Will be super bullish. Getting into some Watcher Guru news, Terra Luna founder Do Kwon to be extradited to the United States. For those of you guys that don't know, this was the coin that was roughly about $100 per coin, and then within less than an hour, it got sent got dropped down to cents on the dollar. Because this guy ended up printing out a bunch of money. Just basically, people lost millions and millions and millions of dollars, and people ended up not being here anymore because of it. Obviously, you guys can put two and two together. Fidelity's spot Bitcoin ETF has been listed to the DTCC under ticker FBTC. So this was kind of interesting because this happened on December 7th. And then the next day, on December 8th, the SEC holds meeting with Fidelity to discuss the spot Bitcoin ETF. And then also the SEC holds meeting with BlackRock on the 12th to discuss what's going on with this. U.S. inflation falls to 3.1%, which helped obviously with what was going on earlier with the interest rates. Former President Donald Trump's new mugshot NFT collection. He's been releasing 3. This is his 3rd NFT collection. They sell out pretty quick. And then Gary Gensler talks about what's been going on with the SEC and the spot Bitcoin ETFs. And he says, I'm just the chair of the SEC. We're a group of individuals, so everything that I say doesn't reflect on the SEC as a whole. It's just his own personal opinion. But they are meeting and talking and discussing the spot Bitcoin ETFs and could see those in the near future. U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren introduces a bill to crack down on crypto. Obviously, she hates cryptocurrency. She's made it known. She's even testified in front of Congress with the head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, who we just saw prior, and gave him a list of questions she was going to ask and a list of responses she wanted him to answer in a certain way, and then her rebuttal to those. So if that's not, kind of a conflict of interest and basically trying to propaganda the United States citizens, I don't know what is. If you guys are in Canada, unfortunately, tier 3 assets being delisted: XDC, KAS, Doge, Casper, HBAR, XLM, ADA, Shiba, Engine, and then VeChain. Obviously, tier 3 assets, these are just a personal opinion of individuals, but Canada's getting rid of a lot of these. Probably consider them securities in their country. Obviously, in the United States, the majority of these are still listed on a lot of exchanges. But unfortunately, we're seeing a mass attack on cryptocurrency from a lot of government heads. How many tax dollars were wasted on this ridiculous? CoinDesk ends up saying that the most influential for cryptocurrency is Gary Gensler for 2023. In my opinion, I think that's kind of ridiculous. Billionaire Mike Novogratz admitting he was wrong about XRP and Ripple as a company. If you guys want to, you guys can watch a little bit more about this video. But we're seeing a lot of individuals now starting to buy the cryptocurrency token XRP. We saw a price run up from roughly about 30 cents to 66 cents just recently. But we did have a nice run up all the way up to 92 cents when they ended up winning their lawsuit against the SEC in the court case with Judge Torres, and since retraced quite a bit down to 50 cents. And then now we're roughly about 61 to 62 cents. IBM just released a new cryptographic signing technology for handling digital assets and cold storage. IBM on HBAR Governing Council. IBM is also working with Constellation DAG. Obviously, IBM is really popular, so this is really great for the HBAR token, which I currently hold. I do not own any DAG as of right now. We'll see if I get some in the near future. HBAR counseling meeting minutes have been released, and it's confirmed that they have voted on a new counselor member to be added. Who's it going to be? It's kind of interesting. There's a lot of popular people: IBM, Boeing, Google, just to name a few that are on there. Chainlink is also on there for Hedera's governing council. Uphold Vaults is here. You guys can now self-custody your own cryptocurrency assets on Uphold with their Vault. They released this new trailer, which is kind of cool, just showing you guys how you guys can do it. Some people like to have cold storage wallets. Some people like to have hot storage wallets. Hot wallets are connected to the internet. Cold storage are away from the internet. Medico has worked with our partner IBM to help build their Hyper Protect offline signing orchestrator OSO, which we just talked about, which is the new cold storage wallets. For those of you guys that don't know, Medico was just bought out by Ripple, which is kind of interesting. Paul Grewal sues the SEC, but it was because of this. So Paul Grewal, who is the chief legal officer over at Coinbase says today the SEC denied Coinbase's petition for rules for crypto. After 18 months of silence, we went to the courts to get a response, and the law requires. With appreciation for the Third Circuit court today, later today, we will be again seek its help by challenging the SEC's abdication of this duty. So if you guys want to, you guys can read. This is the office of the secretary, dear Mr. Grewal. If you guys want to read it, I'm not going to waste a lot of your guys' time with it. Everything's going to be down in the comments below. But he says, no one looking fairly at our industry thinks the law is clear or that there isn't more work to do. If congressional testimony after we were permitted to list in 2021, the SEC chair himself declared that there is no regulatory authorities applicable to cryptocurrency exchanges. Meanwhile, this week, the CFTC chair started with under existing laws. Many of the tokens constitute commodities. We are grateful to the two commissioners disagreed with the denial and called for its redialogue. We will be working together to create laws and rules that will benefit the consumers in U.S. innovation, not defending lawsuits based on legal positions that change month after month, which I 100% agree with. And then Brian Armstrong says, nice small win if he's the CEO and co-founder over at Coinbase. We went to the court to challenge the SEC's refusal to create clear rules for the industry, and it worked. Now that we've formally responded with a no, we can challenge their responses in court, which helps us get one step closer to regulatory clarity. The question is, why doesn't the SEC want to clarify outstanding regulation questions for the crypto industry? Getting into the lawsuit right here, promise made, promise kept. We are now on file with the Third Circuit Court to challenge the SEC's arbitrary and capricious denial of our petition for crypto making. We again appreciate the court's time. Here's 2 and here's 3 if you guys want to read the lawsuit itself. And then Ripple predicts it's time for the year again that we've asked our leaders at Ripple to weigh in on what they think for 2024 holders. Our chief legal officer, Stuart Alderati, kicks off next week 3 bold outlooks on the crypto policy and regulations for 2024. The latest of the US or the SEC's misguided lawsuits against Ripple will finally come to an end, but the SEC's campaign for regulation by enforcement will continue against industry leaders. Judges will continue to be the last line of defense against the SEC's overreach, and the SEC will continue to lose major issues in the court setting at the table for a showdown in the Supreme Court. Congress will agree in principle on crypto regulations, but will disagree on the best course of action, leaving U.S. crypto firms stuck while the rest of the world makes significant positive strides. And I completely agree with this, but it's kind of interesting to see that Ripple and Stuart Alderati themselves have not commented yet on Coinbase's lawsuit against the SEC. So hopefully that will come up next week, and we'll talk about it in our next video if it does happen. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel, and if you guys can invest with a big dog, stay on the porch. Thank you guys, and have a good one.